This is Carolina This Week. Carolina This Week with Tim McGinnis.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. We are going to talk about the economy and jobs this morning. Kind of troubling report came out last week. In 27 years, we have not had so many people living beneath the poverty line as we do right now. News Channel 15's Lindsay Thies went out and talked to some people who are looking for jobs and need help.
It could happen to everybody if you don't keep your eyes open.
Thomas Hughes waits for food and a gas voucher at Helping Hand of Myrtle Beach. He's one of the 2.6 million across the country that are new to the poverty level.
My company went out of business last minute and decided to, when I was going to work, the doors were locked.
Last year's census shows that increase is the highest in 27 years.
A lot of people don't see it right now because a lot of people have what they need, but they could be in my position. I've never been in this position.
But the people at Helping Hand say they're not surprised.
Our numbers are higher at this point than they've ever been in the history of this organization.
An organization that runs solely on donations and is coming up on the time of year when they see the most people needing help.
And so knowing that and knowing how far ahead we are already, you know, it does make us a little nervous going into this part of the year.
According to the new report, a family of 4 qualifies as living in poverty if they earn $22,314 a year or less. A single person, $11,139. That's about $450 to $925 a month, and that's before taxes. Hughes says that's only almost equal to his rent and utilities.
About $800 for that. And then, you know, you got food, you got gas, you got all the other stuff that goes along with life.
He adds he's constantly looking for work, but so far, no luck. And with news of these new numbers, he says he hopes someone will see this story and give him a chance.
I work very hard. I got a good work ethic. And once I learn it, I learn it. I know it. You know what I mean? But who's willing?
Of course, a lot of people in the situation looking for jobs right now, and that's where Brad Lofton with the Myrtle Beach Regional Economic Development Authority comes in. Thanks for being with us this morning, Brad.
Thank you, Tim.
This is your second time here. The first time you were very green. You had just started the job. You're a few months in now. Are we any closer to getting people like the people we just met jobs?
We are, and it's been a long 4 or 5 months of research and getting prepared for to put our community in a position to compete to win a lot of jobs. But we have done that. We've got a great new marketing plan in place. I've built my team. I've got a team now with over 30 years of economic development background and experience and over 10,000 new jobs created. We've got a new board in place, and we've probably got more economic development activity now than anybody in the state. So I'm very proud of where we are right now.
We look at North Charleston, they get Boeing. We look at the upstate, they're getting the Amazon distribution center.
Yep.
We look at Horry County.
It's our turn.
Where's the announcement?
It's our turn.
Even Florence and the PD,
Yep.
who really have been hit hard in this recession, are putting people back to work. It seems like there's a new job announcement, a new jobs announcement coming out of the PD every month or so.
They have an advantage over Myrtle Beach in the fact that they're on an interstate, and so is Charleston, and so we have to overcome that. Every manufacturer we talk to wants to know how far are you from a major interstate. But what it means for us is we've got to get creative and go after those kinds of companies that don't have an interstate demand. So we've had to be creative and think about you know, what type of companies like technology and corporate headquarters, software development, medical billing, aviation that don't have to be on a major interstate. And so we've been identifying those, and we're talking to a number of them right now.
Outside of the ocean and the airport, what are the selling points for Horry County?
Well, you've got a CEO culture in Myrtle Beach and Horry County that is unlike anywhere else in the country. I mean, we were just voted the #1 destination in the entire country. So, you know, we have 14 million Americans that visit here every year. most of those are, a lot of those are more than likely CEOs and decision makers and VPs of industry. And so we already know we're a great quality of life community, and we need to leverage that into and tell the story that this is more than just a beach and vacation destination, that you can enjoy this kind of quality of life year round. So we have the CEO quality of life, that place where people want to live, and we're trying to parlay that into a message that you can also bring your business here. So that's a huge advantage. Coastal Carolina University with 10,000 students. We have energy rates here, thanks to Santee Cooper, of 80% of the national average. We have the largest telecom co-op in the country with Ori Telephone. We've got a great workforce here. We've got some of the strongest incentives now through my organization that we've ever had in the history of our organization. So we can be aggressive. We're pro-business. So there are a number of good things that we can sell.
Now, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I know your job is kind of tied to creating jobs. You don't create X amount of jobs, you could run into some trouble come renegotiation time. How does that work? And I guess that gives you a little bit extra incentive.
My wife reminds me of that every single day. You know, we're spending $1.8 million a year of public tax money. And, you know, I believe we need to be held accountable when we're spending the public's money. And if we're not productive and we can't produce results, we don't need to continue to provide, to be receiving those funds. And if I can't commit to providing at least 500 jobs within 18 months, my contract is over and I've got to go back to Georgia. We don't want to do that. We want to be aggressive and we want to compete and we want to win some projects. Right now, we're currently talking to 16 to 20 companies that could be in excess of 3,000 to 4,000 jobs. So we think we'll get there. It's just going to take us just a little bit longer.
I know with Amazon in the state there was a lot. There were a lot of people who thought that too many breaks were given to Amazon to build that distribution center. I also know that historically the way a lot of areas lure business to them is by offering them those types of incentives. Maybe not to the extent that Amazon was being granted. What kind of can we offer incentives? Are we offering incentives to businesses to come here, and is that the right thing to do?
It absolutely is. I mean, if you think about, if you're a taxpayer, economic development is one of the only things you can invest in and expect a reasonable rate of return. For every 500 jobs we create, there's 3,000 spin-off jobs. There's a multiplier effect of 2 to 3 times the amount of tax revenue that comes back to the community in additional tax revenue. So for a $1 billion incentive package that Charleston was able to provide Boeing, that community will reap $3 to $5 billion worth of economic impact. So it makes sense to leverage the resources you have to try to recruit companies because they mean so much to the growth. Every time you announce 500 jobs, that benefits the residential industry, the service industry, the banking industry, every single industry within the community. So it makes sense. And for the first time ever, thanks to Councilman Tom Rice and the County Council, who have generously stepped up to the plate, we do finally have some incentives we can offer.
Have you had any difficulty working with any entities, either here in the state or even on the federal level?
No, I think, again, we have just that perception around the state that this is a community that is only tourism. And so to try to convince folks that this is more than tourism. We want to be aviation center for Southeast. We want to be a technology and corporate headquarters location for the Southeast. We want to be a medical billing cluster facility in the Southeast. So trying to change that thought process has been a little tough, but we're working on it. We're well on our way of doing that.
All right, I want to get into a few more specifics when we come back with Brad Lofton, the new director of the Myrtle Beach Regional Economic Development Authority. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Carolina This Week. This is Brad Lofton, the director of the Myrtle Beach Economic Development Authority, Myrtle Beach Regional Economic Development Authority.
Got it.
You said it's also called Inbred, but I'm not going to call it Inbred. I'm going to just call it Myrtle Beach.
Just call on us. That's all we have.
Brad, we know that Boeing's coming to North Charleston. That plant's coming online real soon. Lots of jobs. Hopefully however this works out with the NLRB, it will work out. Those people will be put to work. Are we going to see anything in Horry County to support that plant?
Yes.
Any plants here?
We will, Tim. We're 90 miles from that facility. We have a 400-acre International Technology and Aerospace Park that's finishing up the infrastructure. Should be completed by end of November. You know, one of the longest runways in the entire country. And so we believe we're going to be the home of several of their suppliers, and we're trying to negotiate now with some of the state and other leaders that can get us in the door with Boeing. But indeed, that's going to be a big opportunity for us.
And it's not only aviation, you were telling me during the break, we're also looking on the water too.
Yep.
Towards some projects. Tell me a little bit about that.
We got to be smart. What are our competitive advantages? We're a coastal community, so why not go after marine manufacturing, boat builders, and those types of companies that want to be on the waterway? We've got a great park out at Bucksport that's being developed thanks to Santee Cooper and Grand Strand Water and Sewer Authority. It's a 250-acre parcel right on the intercoastal. It's going to be one of the only barge served sites in the southeast. We're looking at a couple of large manufacturers there now. And so it's pretty special. With ITAP, the 450 acres, the marine park, and some of our technology amenities here, it's going to be a neat, the best days are ahead of us.
Because your job is creating jobs.
Mm-hmm.
For the people out there who might be watching that are looking for a job or maybe just about to get into the job market, what's your advice for them to be prepared for what you're trying to bring?
Check into Horry Georgetown Technical College, Coastal Carolina, get trained, get your certifications up to speed, get ready because the jobs are coming. Just prepare yourself for that as best you can.
Are the jobs going to require college degrees, or are there going to be opportunities out there for people who don't have college degrees? How is it going to lay out, do you think, for this area?
There'll be a mix of both. We're recruiting call centers, and they typically require high school or GED equivalency. We're recruiting aircraft mechanic type positions that'll require a technical college certificate. And we're recruiting software development, which would require a 4-year computer science background from Coastal. So I think we got to find opportunities for everybody in between. And so that's what we're doing. There'll be a mix of different job opportunities for everybody.
Well, I think just about everybody in Horry County is rooting for you to succeed and maybe even exceed your target for your 18 months and 500 jobs.
Thanks, sir.
Brad Lofton, thank you for being with us this morning.
Always a pleasure, Tim.
We'll have you back here real soon.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Stay with us. We will be right back. We're going to talk about junior achievement, a way to get kids in school thinking about being entrepreneurs and contributing and maybe even being part of Brad's success somewhere down the line. We'll be right back.